Good morning and welcome to Holtonsfixit101. Today we are going to be talking about this. This is a Tracksaw from one of the online retailers for DIY tools. So we'll have to take a closer look. As you can see, we got this Tracksaw here in front of me here, and it comes with all the usual sort of things you would expect from a Tracksaw. It has the groove down on the inside here to take the track that it runs in, and it does come with track. It comes with two 700mm long lengths that has a joiner in the bottom, and I will get that out in a second, and we will have a quick look at that. The actual saw itself, it's very good. I've used it on several cuts now that I would usually use a normal circular saw. You know, we set up a guide and everything else and run the circular saw down the side of the guide and then cut sheets and stuff like that, especially for cross cutting the sheets. But since then I've used this Tracksaw several times now on the cross cutting sheets, and I'm absolutely amazed by it. There's only a couple of gripes really that I've actually found with it so far is the blade is not exactly the best in the world. It's a bit of a they put one in there so you can get you going basically. It's not a bad blade if you're doing sort of like rough work or something like that, but I wouldn't expect to get, you know, using your best ply, you know, for doing building a cabinet or something like that with it. I would certainly change that blade out, and to that end I have got some more blades, and I will show you those in a second as well. This Tracksaw, what's here, you usually get what you usually have with, you know, a normal circular saw really, but we'll get a closer look of it and everything else. And it's very good. You've got your switch at the front, and that allows you to plunge the saw down to all the different thicknesses and everything else, the different woods that you want to cut. You know, but I will get you a closer look at all the features on the saw, and we'll have a good look around it. Now here we are with the saw, and it's no different than any other plunge saw, to be honest with you. You know, you press the button here on the top here with your thumb, and that allows the actual blade to protrude out through the bottom, as you can see, through there. But it also has other features that it comes along with it as well. Apart from, you know, you have the guide in there as well. But here we have, as you can see, I'll turn that round so you can see it. You've got the graduations here for, you know, for actual doing bevel cuts and miters and everything else. Well, you've got bevel cuts anyway, and you can. There's one at the back and one at the front. There's one at the back here, as you can see there, and there's also one at the front here. So it is pretty well stable, and that allows you to bring the saw over to the 45 degrees, and it's actually graduated on this pointer that's at the front just here, as you can see just there. And that I find is a very good feature as well. And it sets it right back down to there, but it actually goes right on over, and you can see there's 45 degrees on the pointer just there. We might not be able to, but there is. I'll bring it up so you can try and see it. Here we go. There's 45 degrees, but it actually goes a little bit further than that. If you really want to get it set up, you can actually go up to about 47 degrees, but that's depending on what you want to set it at, you know, what sort of bevel cuts. But when you put it back there is some adjustments down in here as well, so allows this to come exactly perpendicular or upright to the sheet that you're about to cut. So you can dial that in real perfect. The other feature I do like about this as well, that it has these two knobs. This just here, as you can see, there's one there and one there, and you turn those and it actually dials it in, so you got it precise onto the track. Because a lot of these saws, they come and you can't, they still have a little bit of wobble on the track. This particular one, yeah, you've got these dials on here, you can actually dial it directly into your into the track, so you don't have any of that wobbling around, so it actually goes right along the track, absolutely perfect. And I found that as a very, very good feature. On the front here also, you have a graduation here, and that allows you to dial in how deep you want the plunge to go. It's got an A and a B, so actually that A and B means with the track or without the track. I found that one out myself. It didn't say any of that in the instructions that I got, because the instructions are a little bit iffy, to be honest with you. So I found that with the track and without the track. So if you're using it without the track, obviously you'd use B, I think you'll find, and then with well, A or whatever it is. I can't remember which one at the moment. It's a long time. Anyway, this here, you undo this, and this will allow this to go up and down. So you dial in how deep you want your plunge depth on the saw blade. It also comes on the back here with, you can't see it at the moment, but it also comes on the back there with a switch to allow you to lock the blade for changing the blade. Now the blade, you may ask, you know, everyone seems to ask, you know, I've had a few people ask me who've seen the saw, how do you change the blade when you've got all this shroud on the side of it? I said, very, very easily. You've got this on the top here, this piece of glass for reinforced plastic, whatever it is. You pull that up like that, and then you push the lever up that you usually would plunge the saw like that, and you push the saw down, and it like that, and it's supposed to lock into place, but it ain't allowing me to lock into place because I haven't got the. There we go. Right, now I lock into place. Right, now you can see you've got the arbor sticking out through this hole inside, and you can undo that by pressing the button I showed you earlier on there to lock the blade in place, and then you can undo the arbor and take the blade out. Now this is the blade that actually came with the saw. It's a 24 tooth. I can't remember the bore size off by hand, but I think it's a 20mm bore size. That you just undo that, you take the blade out and reinsert your new blade. Like I say, the blade is not the most brilliant in the world. It cuts and it does a very, very good job, but I wouldn't recommend it on a you know, if you was doing fine cabinetry work. Right, to release that, you just push the lever there back, and it releases the saw back again after and you know you're back in plunge mode to carry on doing whatever you're doing. So it allows you to go and do that. Now, going back to what I was saying, that you know, a couple of gripes obviously was that blade. It could have been a little slightly better blade, but they're giving us a blade to get on with. But the other one that I had about the saw is my usual sort of gripes of when you have a power tool, and it's the short cord. Now I have a video that I put up whatever, and about short paracords, and I'll put a link in the description down below for that. That's about short cords on power tools, and this one there was no exception. You know, with that I put my own sort of longer cord on it, because there's if anyone knows that if when you're running along, say like an 8x4 sheet of board, that the last thing you want to be doing is dragging an extension cord. So you have a nice long cord that allows you to go all the way along a board, and you're done. On saying about the blades though, I've been out and I've gone and got myself some more blades for well, specifically for this plunge saw, and these are the blades here, and it wasn't expensive. They're brand new, as I see. They're still in their packet, so I think I've got I'm not sure what this one is. This one's 24 teeth. This one's a very fine one. Yeah, he's 60 teeth, so he's very fine. And this one here, he's 48 teeth, which was quite. It's still fine, but not as fine as obviously the 60. But they're all ready to go straight on my saw, and when I come to use it on more fine cabinetry works or anything like that. But for building what I was building a couple of weeks ago, which was, and it was in my previous video that I'm back, that I built the unit to put all my big boxes over there, my sorter boxes. It was perfect for cutting that plywood, because you know it's for the shop. It's not for not cabinetry work to go in someone's house or something like that. It was just built for the shop. So that saw blade done it, no problem whatsoever. I wasn't worried about a little bit of splintering out. It was perfect for that. But saying that though, the track, I'll just get the track a second, excuse me. I've actually built this cupboard, or whatever you want to call it, or a sleeve, or whatever you want, to go over the actual track, because I'm not one of these people that wants to take, because it's two 700mm pieces of track that you get with the saw, and you've got a bar that actually joins the two together. I'm not one of these people that wants to, every time I want to use it, I want to put this thing together. I want to keep it as one thing. But the trouble is, I don't want it to get damaged or anything like that, because it's been, you know, rolling around the shop, or it drops on the floor for any reason or whatever. So with that, I built this sleeve for it to go in. Now, here we are. There's the track that comes out of the sleeve. Now, I'll put that over there out of the way. Now there's the track, and as you can see, it's now it's got the two 700s. Obviously it'd be 1400mm long, which is plenty enough to actually cross cut a piece of ply, or you know, or a sheet of ply. It's not obviously not long enough to go along the length of a ply, because you'll need double the length of this track. But it doesn't mean to say that I can't go out at a later date and actually find someone who's actually doing that same track. But it actually sits on here. I don't know if you can still see that on camera, but it actually sits on here absolutely perfect, and it rides along on here. It plunges through, and it's got this rubber. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it does have this rubber strip going along here that the blade actually cuts into. When you first get this, the actual rubber strip is quite long, or wide, or whatever you want to call it, and when the blade actually comes along, it actually cuts this rubber slip. So when you actually set this up on, put some marks down for the length of your plywood or board or whatever you're going to be cutting, you actually put that directly on top of those marks. And when your blade comes along, it cuts it exactly off on those marks. Brilliant idea. Whoever thought of that was a genius at the time, I think. And to be honest, well, what can I say? You know, there's some strips on the back here, on the back of the track, so you don't need clamps. It does actually come with a couple of clamps. You can actually clamp it down to your board, but I found that the actual weight of this and the weight of the saw actually riding on it, this doesn't actually move. In fact, this is on a piece of cloth here on top of my table saw, and this isn't even moving now, and this is just on this piece of cloth, which is a little bit slidey. So even then, you know, is what can I say? It's brilliant. Well, there we go. This is the plunge. Well, it's a generic make plunge saw, but I found it to be very, 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 very useful in the last couple of weeks that I've been using it. For doing various things. The base on here is actually a cast aluminium, magnesium, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a pressed steel affair like you do get on a lot of saws. You know, even the side here, it's not plastic, it's actually metal. With a lot of saws they're bringing out, you know, just recently they have the actual guard that they come out over the blade is actually made of glass reinforced plastic. Yes, it probably would be strong enough, but I wouldn't trust it. It comes with a dust port, so you can connect up your vacuum cleaner or dust extraction to take off the dust and everything else. But I found it to be very, very, very good. Now, as the usual things, if you want to connect with me on the usual social media and everything else. I'll put links in the description down below for those, and I will see you next time. But please leave comments in the comment section, because they're always welcome, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.